Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to the first, I think this is the first series of onboarding week, right? Yeah, so officially welcome to KodeCamp 5.0. I believe some of you, if not all of you on this call, were part of the opening ceremony that held last week. If you were not, I would advise that you go get that video on YouTube and watch it, right? There are a whole lot of information there that is very, very important. It's very important that you actually have, right? So um get that and just stay informed. So this is the first of our series in the onboarding, and so we'll just get straight into it, right? So we're talking about the Grit Capsule, right? And of course, this is all about the essence of this onboarding is to help you get the most out of KodeCamp 5.0, right? And generic, right? Your tech career and, and all of that, right? So a bit of an introduction. My name is Ikechukwu Achom. I'm the program manager, at KodeCamp. I'm also a mobile app developer. I do both native and cross-platform at CodeHouse. CodeHouse, of course, for those of you who joined the onboarding, the opening ceremony, you would have heard about CodeHouse. So CodeHouse is um, a tech company here in Eket, Akwa Ibom State, and CodeHouse is the powerhouse for CodeCamp, right? I'm also into product design and product management, and amongst other few things that I dabble in, right? Like a bit of a front end, software testing, and a whole lot of some other minor things here and there. So but of course, today is not actually about me. Today is about grades. So we're just going to get right to it. So a bit of a ground rules, right? Of course, don't don't mute your mic, right? If you have a question, you raise your hand. But at the same time, I would prefer you take note of the questions that you have so that once we get to the question and answer session, you hit me with your question. Don't hold back. Ask your question, right? And I'll do my best to give you the answer that you need. So let's get straight into it, right? What is grit, right? This is one word, right, that has become a norm, in code camp, right? Grit is a way of life. Let me put it that way. It's a culture of code camp. Of course, culture back then when we were in primary, secondary school, talking about culture being a way of life and all that, right? So what is grit, right? So let's just head straight into that. So grit is the tendency in to sustain interest in maybe in something, and of course an effort towards very long-term what goals. That's by Duckworth in 2007. So that's a definition, right? It's also the tenacious pursuit of what I call a dominant superordinate goal despite setbacks, right? Despite setbacks. So let's kind of just break this down, right? Break it down like to the barest minimum. Okay, so grit basically just talks about perseverance, right? Perseverance, not giving up, no matter the situation. And one of the reasons we like to talk about grit before classes start, before the journey into code camp starts, is because if you don't have this, you will not make it to the end. And it's a fact, it's a proven fact. It has been tested, tried, trusted, right? Some persons here may already understand what I mean based on maybe the way I've seen some familiar names here actually, right? So they know what I mean. Some did not finish, some due to some unforeseen circumstances. But grit is regardless of those unforeseen circumstances, right? Still, pushing on. So when we talk about the tenacious pursuit, right, of a dominant superordinate goal despite setbacks, what basically that means is not giving up on your big important goal, even when things go wrong. Even when things go wrong, even when you fail, even when the journey gets very hard, right? Just not giving up, never saying never, right? That is basically what it means. So your tenacious pursuit, you keep going on no matter what, you're persistent, you don't quit easily, right? When we talk about the dominant superordinate goal, basically just it's just a big goal that matters more than anything else. It matters more than anything else. It's what actually drives your actions. Okay, it's what drives your actions despite the setbacks, when things don't go your way, when you face problems, when you face delays, when you face failures, you keep what trying. It's for an example, let's say you want to become a software developer and get a job in tech. That's your dominant goal, right? That's the big picture, that's the high level goal, right? But then you might struggle with things like, maybe not understanding some coding concepts. Maybe, of course, in getting a job, you fail a technical test, an interview. I don't know how anybody here has actually applied for interviews before and failed. I have. You understand? Or little things like your laptop will just crash mid KodeCamp 5.0, right? Your laptop just crashes, like just gives up on you, right? Or you just feel discouraged because you're seeing other people moving faster. Have you ever been in class, right? And you're just hearing the questions people are asking, and you're like, Am I a potato? Like these questions these people are asking, am I a potato? Like, what is going on? You understand? These little things, right, can actually just try to discourage you and kind of drag you down. But the person with grit is somebody who doesn't give up. They keep studying, practicing, asking for help, applying for opportunities because of that dominant goal of, okay, I want to be a software developer and I want to get a job in tech. So they keep studying, practicing, applying for opportunities because that goal is so important that they are willing to push through the very difficult parts. Okay, so that's basically what grit is about. Now, let me move a step further. The very very first time I actually was talking to someone about grit, I got to understand that some persons feel that grit is self-control, right? But they are not the same. And I need to and it's something that we need to just kind of clarify. So let's look at this. Grit is just passion and effort that is sustained over years, right? Self-control is resisting temptations. That's just it. Grit is your passion and your effort. You're sustaining it over years. But self-control is just you resisting, temptations. I wrote there hourly, but of course it will come daily. It would come per second, per minute. In fact, don't worry, I'll give you some examples, right? So that's basically a difference. But let's look at it in from a what I call a goal hierarchy, right? A goal hierarchy. Now, of course, I don't need to start explaining what a goal is now, right? So whatever it is, because those are basic stuff that you know. So let's look at this first image here, right? This basically shows your dominance goal. So the very first one here is your dominance goal, the major thing, the high level stuff, right? The biggest goals. And then under it, you now have some smaller goals. What these smaller goals are basically just certain things that lead up to the what larger picture, right? And of course, the more you drill down, it all depends on your goal. It's definitely, see, if your goal does not drill down to an action, then you're wasting your time. So it has to be broken down into actions that will actually get to that particular goal, right? So for example, still the example of becoming a software developer. Please don't write on my screen. Try not to try to resist the temptation of wanting to just touch things you're not very sure of when you're on Zoom, right? Things like the annotates. So let me just clear this quickly. Okay, thank you. So um where was I? Okay, becoming a successful software developer, right? So you could have mid-level goals. So the top level goal there is, okay, I want to become a software successful software developer, not just a software developer, right? Your mid-level goals could be that, okay, I'm going to learn the programming fundamentals. I'm going to build real world projects, and I'm going to improve soft skills, my soft skills. These three things are very important. Of course, if you want to be a successful software developer, you need the soft skills. You need to have real world projects, because companies who would want to employ you, they want to actually see what you have done, right? So they would ask for things like your portfolio or a live link what to what you are actually what you've actually built, right? So that's kind of just breaking it down. So that like mid-level goals, right? And then of course, can have a much more lower level goal, which in this other area, this other level, like so let's say, if depending on the particular stack. So let me just use Python, for example, right? So the low level goals could be, okay, fine, I'm taking a Python course, right? Maybe a particular Python course, getting this particular certification or something like that. Practice down to actions of practicing coding, maybe 1 hour daily or something, right? Joining a coding community, right? Working on portfolio projects. For the person who is requesting to record, don't worry, you don't need to request. The session is recorded, and it will be uploaded on YouTube. Okay, so just concentrate. Okay, thank you. Working on portfolio projects, and practicing, of course, communication through presentations. Something that some persons don't do, right? They don't actually know how to communicate. They feel it's not an important skill to have if you want to become successful. Well, you will learn you I hope you don't learn the hard way, right? But these are things that you will pick up one way or the other in KodeCamp if you actually let yourself, right? So this is basically just a goal hierarchy, and this is something every one of you should do for yourself in KodeCamp. What is that high level goal, right? You came to KodeCamp, why? What's that high level thing you want to achieve, right? And break it down. It must not be in this format of maybe having um 2 layers in between. It can actually just be 1 layer. It can be 4 layers. It all depends on you breaking how much you can break it down to the most minute task that needs to be done frequently, that will get you to that particular goal. Now, so that's actually on that. Now, but in explaining the difference between grit and self-control, someone is still drawing on my screen. Please just leave the Discord. Don't touch your phone or your laptop. Just listen. Avoid touching the Zoom, this thing, controls, right? You don't need to unmute or anything, please. Okay, it's distracting. Thank you. Um, yeah, so self-control. Now, looking at this image here, you have an enduring valued goal, a goal that is valuable. Now, but there's a very key word there, enduring, right? An enduringly valued goal. And then at this point, you have a rival goal of momentarily higher value. Now, the moment, and a lot of times we are in this position, there's a conflict arises, right? So basically what this is showing us, right? Um, basically what this is showing us is that sometimes, right, we are tempted to do something that feels good in the moment, right? And that could actually be a short-term goal, right? It feels good in the moment, but it can hurt your bigger long-term goals, right? It feels good, in that moment. It's just so awesome, right? The feeling is there. In fact, okay, right? Maybe the time that you need to maybe you're joining a class with your laptop and all that, and your phone is there with you, and your teacher is teaching, and then all of a sudden you just get a WhatsApp notification, or maybe you're even using your phone, right? You just get a WhatsApp notification. That's kind of WhatsApp notification that maybe you set it, and you can see the message, and you just see a love emoji, right? from whosoever. I don't know who is coming from, right? So there's that temptation to just click, right? You want to know who it is, right? And of course, all it takes for you to click that, and dependent on who that person is, a conversation what takes place, and you're off the class. Or maybe a reel, Facebook just gives you a notification, right? About you know how things pop up now. They just give you a notification about how police caught 5 people, or how police beat this person, or how this celebrity did this, how this celebrity did that. The notification will just drop. All it takes is just let me find out. It's satisfying to actually, you want to be in the know of what's going on. So let me just click. What are all these uh what are all these celebrities them now? I don't even know which one to call, right? Whoever, right? Just all, you can help me in the chat, right? Okay, somebody say, see what Messi did that shocked my fans. And see, there's something you need to understand. The people who create this content, they are so very, very, see, they are so good at their titles, at their captions, because their caption is to captivate. Their caption is to captivate. So it's a captivating caption. All you as always say, the truth about dot 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 dot. And once you tap it, you're off. You're off that class. And someone like me, if I'm teaching, right, and you just come and ask a question of something I've said before, you just go back to the video and watch it, because people should not pay for your own distraction. Other students should not pay for your own distraction. So you distracted yourself, or you allowed it. At that point, Facebook was that joy of, let me just enter Facebook, or let me just enter Instagram, let me just enter TikTok and all that, right? So self-control is you being able to just resist this guy, this rival goal that has a very high value, but it's just for the moment, right? It's just for the moment. So self-control is you being able to say, you know what, I don't worry, leave it and stay. I have this one that is a much higher goal. I need to, and it's something you endure. That's why I call it. That's why it's called enduringly valued goal. Because, man, for example, someone who is trying to okay. Let's use myself as an example, but let me not cast myself, right? So, for example, someone who is trying to work out, right? You're trying to keep fit and all that. Man, you come back, there's just something about maybe just eating by 9 p.m. I want to hit that bar. Like, you just want to hit it, right? Man, the taste of that soup, man, it's so amazing. Like, but you now have to think of the fact that, man, let me resist it. See, you endure the drive. In fact, the worst of it, when nature wants to do you evil, is that all of a sudden somebody somewhere may now be preparing that dish. You just be perceiving it, be perceiving that fried rice, be perceiving that whatever, right? Or maybe that thing you don't want to do, all of a sudden, internet just starts, your feed is just throwing in your face like that. Nature, everything will just be throwing it in your face. That's self-control, right? That's self-control. So let's move on to talking about now grades in illustration. So you can see here two things. You have the passion, right? Of course, this is still a goal hierarchy, right? I started by explaining the goal hierarchy, your goals, mid-level, whatever, broken down to actions, right? Now, this is the thing about grades. You have a passion, you have something you're chasing after, but then a rival goal comes into play, right? So let's talk about the passion versus a rival goal. So grit is you being able to stay committed to your biggest goal, even when things go wrong, or even when something that looks much better shows up, right? So you have a passion and a clear goal, but suddenly something more attractive or exciting tries to distract you. You've decided, oh, I love coding, I love, but all of a sudden, somehow, somewhere, you just see that UI UX designers are earning $120,000 a year. In fact, UI UX designers are hot cake. Designers are hot cake. Designers are hot cake. All of a sudden, you don't want to do coding again. You want to enter design, right? Or you joined to actually you joined KodeCamp to learn maybe product management, right? And then somehow, some way, maybe you have that passion to lead people, you have that passion, you have that drive, you have that gift of coordination, right? And you went for product management, but all of a sudden, you now maybe during the internship, maybe your friends somehow you hear that you see coding, no, do you know how much developers are making? Right? Do you know how much developers are making? Or maybe somebody tells you want to do coding, somebody say, coding is hard though. Me, I tried it. So a human being will tell you, I tried it and I even left it. Right. So I just remember someone who a one of what a well, not really a friend of mine, Sha, but someone I knew who met me for a job. He's actually looking for an opportunity to work, right? He's looking for a job. He has a bit of skill, so he's just looking, even if it's an internship. And then his friend who was working for another company was about to leave the company, and he was trying to tell his friend, okay, now just since two of us are doing the same thing, why not just tell them that you have somebody that can replace you? And then his friend was like, no, don't go there, that place is toxic. That place is toxic. And when he met me, I told him, enter there first. Now go and see the toxicity first. It may be toxic for one, but may not be toxic for you. You may thrive in that toxicity, as the person calls it, right? So you have to be able to stay true to what you want to do in spite of challenges and options, right? In spite of challenges and what options, that's passion versus your rival what goal. You want to actually build it. A typical example of me, right? In when we talk about passion versus goals, rival goal, right? I think I've said it one or two times in some of the cohorts how I started handling KodeCamp, right? Trust me, in the country and economy we were today, I should not have taken it when I did. But there's just something about passion versus rival goal. In fact, the interesting thing is some of the opportunities that I was longing for and hoping for. It is like the moment I accepted to manage KodeCamp, that's when they came. That's when the first, I think about a week, 2 weeks later, that's when an opportunity came, right? And it looked so nice. It was something I was praying and hoping for. But of course, there is passion and there's a rival goal. I stood for passion. That's me, because I love Code Camp and what it represents and what it's the impact, it actually what does and it's going to actually what give to people, right? So you may want to build, you have the passion to build, and then somebody is offering you a well-paying job that actually seems easier. A gritty person will not take that job. That's the truth. The other one is hard. Yes, it is hard. But what's the end goal? So a gritty person is someone who looks at the end goal, not just the pleasure of what now, right? So that's that. Now, in the second aspect is setbacks, which is the B part. Persistence when there is setback. So something goes wrong while you're chasing your big goal. Instead of quitting, what you do is to adjust that goal and keep moving forward. So you can see it here, right? These are little goals, right? Smaller goals, of course, part of the bigger one. And then for some reason, maybe something happened, this one did not work. Instead of quitting, what happens? A novel goal is generated in response to that setback. So let's say you want to study abroad, right? You want to study abroad and then you went to apply for visa and they denied. What happened? So there is you maybe you went using a particular approach. What would you do? Naturally, you figure out a different way. So instead of giving up, you can apply to a different country. You can look for online or learning alternatives, right? You can take more courses. That's why when people say, I've not gotten into school yet, they want everybody wants to. I'm not against jam, right, and all that. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, my network. Please confirm you can hear me on the chats. Yeah. We will. Yeah, great. Okay. Okay, so let me find out people who are listening. So, please, who say you lost the host? Please, you didn't lose me. I'm still alive. But that's on a lighter note. Please, okay, so where did you actually uh what did you hear last? Okay. Just if you can use the chat, let's see. Let's see those who were paying a bit of attention. Okay, the jam aspect. Okay, yeah. So so that's talking about okay, I'm not against jam. Okay. Yeah, of course, this for those they are the Nigerians, they know about jam, right? So but let's leave jam out of the way. So let's be a bit more generic. Okay. So let's you want to actually go to school, but of course you probably don't have the fees, the tuition or whatever, right? What do you do? That already is a setback. What do you do? There are people who would give up and probably go and open, go to one shop, and you see, there are certain I tell people there are certain jobs you take, you've actually put yourself in a prison, because all of a sudden you'll be on survival mode and you'll never get to go back to chase after your dream. So you have to be very careful of the not the goal you set in response to your setback. If you're not careful, you will set a goal that may not take you there, right? But the essence and the summary of it is you being able to persist, right? You have a blocker. What is your response? You're in code camp. All of a sudden, your laptop crashes. What's your response? Is it to give up? Ah, no, I'm not doing code camp again. I think I've tried. You know what? My laptop. Some persons, a few persons who met me in some cohorts. So my laptop just crashed. I say, wow, that's nice. Congratulations, it crashed. So what next? Someone told me I don't know. I said, well, I can't help you if you don't know. I can't help you. You've already given up. You sound like somebody that's given up. And that's one person to one difficult one thing that's difficult to do is to help somebody that's given up. Right? Look for alternatives. Borrow from a friend. What's the worst that can happen? Meet a friend. Can I use your laptop for like just 30 minutes a day, 1 hour a day? Right? See, you have to do it against all odds. Against all odds. Not everybody was born with silver spoon. Please don't go and steal us. Who is saying go and steal? Please, right? Don't go and steal. Oh, they catch you. Don't say it's Ikechukwu or KodeCamp that sent you, right? Against all odds, right? Not everybody started out with everything they had, right? I remember when I started, I didn't have a laptop. But I was borrowing a laptop, and the laptop I was borrowing was a television. Once the light goes off, it goes off with it. When the light comes back on, it comes back on with it. And it wasn't even mine. So I'm still even borrowing television, right? The embarrassment and everything that came with it, until somehow, the company I was working for I got the first laptop. At some point, so that one too was still slow. So it was still a setback, right? Before another one came. So not everybody started out with everything they had, but you still have to, against all odds, don't give up. There are persons, but there's one person I still admire till today. It's just sad that the person is not even in tech anymore. It's sad, right? This person finished code camp, I think that was 3.0 front end with a phone. Like a phone. Person started half of the boot camp coding with phone, like with a phone, not laptop, with a phone. It was when they give them tasks, I think then they were using I've forgotten the platform. It was stressful. He was using his phone to write the HTML and the CSS. Man, I put cap. And then he will come, when he meets this person, can I use your laptop for 30 minutes? Can I use your laptop for 1 hour? He'll borrow laptop, he'll do his task. You may see it like he's crazy, borrow pose, and that's fine, no problem, right? If only he had, after that, he had continued, well, I don't know, but that was something I admire. That's someone who didn't want to give up, and he said he was certified. So don't give up, right? Don't give up. So now let's round up. How do I develop grit? Okay. What are the things I need to do as a gritty, um, as a gritty person? What are the things do I need to do? So let's start. First one, pursue your interests. If something doesn't fascinate you, it will actually be hard to stick to it. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be impossible to stick to it. I say to be hard, right? See, in pursuing your interest, if it doesn't light a fire in you, you struggle to keep it burning. You can take that down. Hmm? You can write that down and keep for yourself. If it doesn't light a fire in you, you struggle to keep it burning. Right? So gritty people are people who pursue their interests, right? They pursue their interests because we are naturally more persistent when we're passionate about something. Um, sometimes I like to use some abstract examples, right? Uh, I, for the guys here, how many times have you ever tried to talk to a girl and she says no and you just stop immediately for someone you actually like? It's almost impossible. No, sometimes for guys feels it's like a challenge, right? It's like a challenge. You want to no, nah, you don't accept it. No, you say, me, you don't like who me? No, you don't, right? For something you're passionate about, you're naturally more persistent, right? About that thing, right? So when you're passionate about something, setbacks are like puzzles. They're like puzzles, they are not roadblocks, right? They are not roadblocks. Okay. So think about it. For example, would you rather spend time doing this instead of this? You see that instead of this. So you need to be able to find out where does your interest lies? Where does it lie? That is where you should actually chase, you should chase after, right? Pursue your interests. Don't force yourself into a path just because it's trending, right? Or you think it is profitable, right? Don't just force yourself. Now, you may or may not make it. Like that's why I said it will be hard to stick to it if it doesn't fascinate you, if you don't have an interest. Not that it's not, you may not make it. I'm just saying it's going to be tough. It will be much what tougher, right? It will be much more tougher. So don't force yourself into a path just because it's trendy or because it's profitable, right? Explore the things that truly capture your attention, that speaks to your essence, right? Then the next one is to practice, practice, practice. See, we like doing what we are good at. That's the truth. Or maybe I should even use the word, we love doing what we are good at. So use deliberate practice, like intentional what practice, right? See, champions are made when nobody is watching. That's where champions are not made when no, they are made when nobody is watching. Right. So we enjoy the things that we are good at and we become good at what we consistently what do, right? We become good at what we consistently will do. So gritty people embrace deliberate what practice, setting small goals, fixing weaknesses, doing it again and again. There's something my boss usually says, Engineer Lawrence Akugbe, that is the managing director of Code. He said, if you do one thing a day, you've done 30 things in 30 days. That whatever it is, let's say you want to learn um Python programming language, learn one thing a day, you have learned 30 things in 30 days. It means you have learned 60 things in 60 days, 90 things in 90 days. Practice, 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 right? The third thing to do as a gritty person is to connect to a higher purpose. See, find your why and constantly remind yourself of it. See, a, a purpose that is meaningful is like an emotional fuel that keeps you going, right? So it's not about what you're doing, but why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? This why is the fuel you need to keep going, right? Is the fuel you need to keep what going, your why. So find it at all costs, like at all costs, and constantly remind yourself about it. It could be that you want to be have a positive effect on the nation, on the world, yourself, your family, your community, whatever. Find out You guys are cracking me up on the chat. Find out your your why, not X. Don't find X. Don't find X. That was we did that one in secondary school. We never still saw it. So find Y now. In KodeCamp, find Y. Don't find X. Okay, so I think two more and then we're rounding up. Okay, and then learn delayed gratification. Right? Learn delayed gratification. See, don't trade what you want most for what you want now. Okay, I'll take that again. Don't trade what you want most for what you want now. So, a person of gritty people learn to say no to short-term pleasures in exchange for long-term rewards. That's how you get goals achieved, right? That's how you actually get goals achieved. Don't trade what you want most for what you want now. Okay. So let's say you had this there's a new next Netflix series that just came out, right? I don't know how many of you have seen the 2025 2026 movies that are going to come out. Interesting stuff, right? Interesting stuff, right? But you have a project deadline. You have class. I remember one of the classes we had that coincided with a particular derby. I don't know if it's a London derby. That's for those who watch match actually, right? Some persons did not attend the class actually. So some persons did not attend that class. Why? They wanted to watch that match so they could sacrifice knowledge for 90 minutes of pleasure of watching people kick a ball up and down, right? I watch ball, don't get me wrong, right? Well, I usually watch highlights. It's been a while. I think it's just about last week or so that I finally watched out after a very, very long time that I finally sat down in a sports center, in a particular center to watch match. That was my Europa League finals, right? And then the Man U lost. You understand? If not, it's been a very long time. So some persons can actually sacrifice what would give them actual value, real value for petty things, right? Petty things, right? So let me give a scenario, right? Let me pick somebody's name. Okay, let me pick Daniel Udechukwu. Daniel Udechukwu, maybe he wants to watch a new, you know, Netflix series that just came out, right? But he has a project deadline. One of the things Daniel will do is to remind himself, right, that rest feels better after a win. And that take note of that. Rest feels better after a win. See, if you have not done, see, if you have, for example, you're on a project deadline, right? If you've not, see, the rest is sweeter after that delivery, not before. It is better after you have delivered, not before. In fact, can you even rest well? Will you even rest? When you're lying down, you might probably be thinking of the pressure and all that. Rest is better after a win. So what would Daniel do? Finish the work first, then go and start watching the series. The series is not going to run away. Facebook will not run away. Instagram will not run away. TikTok will not run away. But he attends the class first. He finishes his assignment on time first before going to do any of those things. That's self-control plus satisfaction joined together, right? So there's this 10-10-10 rule, right? That you can ask yourself when you want to do when things like this come up. Will this feel good in 10 minutes, 10 days, and 10 months? That's just something you can actually ask yourself, right? And then, of course, the very last one, surround yourself with gritty people, right? Surround yourself with gritty people. Their beliefs, their feelings, their behaviors, it will rub off on you, right? It will rub off on you. See, there's this quote by Jim Rohn, right? It says, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Interestingly, it's the first time I'm actually hearing it, right? Actually saw it and I decided to just, add that to my notes, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that is fact. Check it. Just if you can just sit down a bit for like 2 minutes, and just check, just ponder on that. Look at pick the very five people that are closest to you, the very five. Check check their habits, check their attitude, character, check everything. You see yourself in some of them, or you see them in yourself, whichever one that you want to actually use, right? So your tribe influences your vibe. Your tribe influences your vibe, right? So when you're around people who are driven, who are consistent, who are focused, it will rub off on you. You just all of a sudden you start matching their energy, their habits, their mindsets. But when the people you're following are people that are not going anywhere, people that complain too much, people that at the little instant of failure they want to give up, man, if you're not careful, if you're not careful, you begin to see the world through their eyes. See, it is very easy for the good to get corrupt, but very difficult for the bad to get uncorrupted, if that word exists. Very easy for the good to turn bad, but it's hard for bad to turn good. Okay, so uh okay, so so that's that, right? So um join a community, right? Join a community that inspires you, right? Join KodeCamp community, make friends, make look for people. Of course, there are people in code. See, one of the things in KodeCamp, see, grit is a thing, is a way of life. So anybody who has been in KodeCamp for like 1, 2, 3 cohorts, trust me, it's there. They don't have choice. Maybe it's by level thing. How much of it do they have? But it's there. So it's something we sink in day one. You put it inside of you, put it in your head, right? Of course, in the end, you'll be the one to grow it, right? You'll be the one to nurture it. So surround yourself with gritty people so they can rub off on you, right? So there is this thing we usually do also in KodeCamp, where we take a grit test, right? I'm going to share this on the group, right? I'll share it on the Discord. I'll drop the link also on the chat. You can just go take the test. I don't know if let me see if I can yeah, just I'll share it I'll share it on the group, right? But you can pick it up, angela.com/grit hyphen scale. You can actually check your grit level with this. If you answer the questions honestly, don't sabotage yourself, don't lie to yourself, right? Don't lie to yourself. If you answer the questions um truthfully and honestly, you can actually get your grit score to know how much grit you actually have. If you actually do have at your grit level. So let me just quickly drop that. Um okay, yeah. So you can actually, I think I've dropped that now. Yeah. So you can pick that up. Of course, I'll still share it on the what's it called? On the Discord, right? For everyone. So it's something we usually do. It's just for yourself. Go check your go check your grit scale. See how many you score, and then figure out where you can actually improve, right? Okay, so that's that. We're gonna move to the question and answer session. So if you have a question, yes, this is where you can raise your hand and I will call you to ask. Questions, 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 questions. Don't be shy. Gritty people are not shy. They are daring. Any question? So I'm just going to have that for about 5 minutes. So you can raise your hand, not clap. I don't know if the clapping is raising of hand. So does anybody have a question? But I'm sure it's pretty much clear, right? I'm sure it's pretty much clear. So 2 more minutes for that. Okay. Okay, so Karen, yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you so much for the lecture so far. Good afternoon, everyone. So my question is this. Okay, so for actually, I'm a newbie in I'll say in the tech space, right? And I'm interested in DevOps. But before I finally decide to say, okay, I want to learn DevOps, I knew I went through, you know, a lot of scratches, like I kept my head in product design. From product design, I did data analysis one time. I was just roaming through. That's because I have a medical background. I was working in the hospital before I decided to, let me switch to the technological world. I'm tired of the medical space and all. Right. So for someone like me, would you say I am not a greater person? Like I really do not have a focus, and that's why I'm really having all scratch before I got my, I finally chose like a track to focus on. So that's my question.
Okay, so let me put it this way, right? One of the things I tell people in the tech space is a lot of times may you may not actually know what you are capable of, right? Or the actual place you'd want to be the very first time you start. It happens, right? It happens. You may actually start out with something, and but along the line, you discover. So I would only say you're not gritty if you have discovered where you should be or where your passion lies and you don't stay there. But if you're still in the process of discovery, then no, you don't have any, I wouldn't actually say you don't have grit, right? So it's all about finding out where your passion lies. Where do you want to, where is your interest? If your interest is in a particular place, stay there, right? There's something my boss usually says. He's not a fan of somebody just knowing one thing, right? This thing say jack of all trade, master of none. No, you can be a jack of all trade, but at least you should master some, right? You can start out with a particular listen, and then when you get to a certain level of competence, you can also pick up something else, right? I started out with machine learning. From machine learning, I moved to mobile, right? Native mobile development using Kotlin. From then, I moved to Flutter. I'm doing React Native. I also picked up product design. I also picked up product management. As at last year, I picked up cybersecurity, got one or two certifications, right? But my core is mobile. That's where my core is. It's mobile. So I am still there. I'm not, these other things are skills that I picked up along the line. But that's why you see when I introduced myself, the very first thing I said there in list of skills is mobile app developer. So until you discover, when you discover that, then and you don't, you know, fire down with that, then I think maybe I would say something happens. Your grid somewhere needs a bit of adjustment. Yeah. So Emmy, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good
Um,
afternoon.
my question is this, just like the last person that just asked, someone like me who has not been so competent in ICT, I've not done any program at all, right? Just saw this, a friend recommended it to me, and I decided to start. I would have loved to start with something lower, but I didn't see such. So I came up with this. I don't know. How am I going to cope?
What did you come up with? You say you came up with this. What's the this?
As in, we are doing front end,
Okay,
and I'm
you
not,
chose front end.
because that's the I don't know any other one I could have picked among all this thing now. The
So how do you know to
all the
how did you know to
options.
pick front end? How did you know to pick front end?
I had asked the person that introduced me to it,
Okay.
and yes, so he said I can start, and I had indicated I'm
Okay.
a newbie in the form. I've
Yeah.
indicated I'm a newbie, so I don't
Okay.
know if this class will accommodate people like me or is for all the pros.
No. KodeCamp accommodates everybody. Okay, everybody. Now, the first thing you need, if as one thing you in particular, now this is my candid advice slash instruction. Two things. The
Okay,
advice is me, just my, the instruction is your program manager. Now, make sure you don't miss dipods. You need it.
okay, okay,
Dipods is 2 to 4 all through this week. Then from next week, only Wednesdays. Don't miss dipods. For all of you here, don't what you in particular, right? I like the fact that you've identified that you're new to ICT. Trust me, diapods is the foundation stuff that you need. The front end is fine. That's what you get certified for. Diapods is a general course for everybody. And it's compulsory. So you need it more. In fact, right now you need it more than everybody, right? So don't miss. In fact, Emmy, right? Good. I'll be looking for you in every diapods class.
Okay.
Yes, trust me, you will appreciate it a lot. Trust me, you will appreciate it a lot.
I'll try. I'll try. I'll be there.
Okay, okay,
Thank
great.
you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much. Yes.
Mm.
Barry. Sorry. Barry, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, sir.
Yes.
The woman that just finished speaking, she has actually asked what I wanted to ask because I started diapers like 2 months ago, whether 2 months ago or something like that. I always come to
Mm-hmm.
Code House, okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, and when I registered for this code camp, I don't even know anything about tech. I just saw that back end fast AIP, that Python. So the person who told me to register just told me I should go for that one that is good. And I don't even know anything about all those options. I don't even know what is back end. I don't even know what is Python. I don't even know what is all those things. So I just decided
Python
to
is a snake.
so I just decided to choose it since that guy told me to. So I just choose it. So now I don't know what can you
Okay.
what is your advice for
So
me?
so let me say this in on a more generic note, right? One of the things that I don't want some of you who are new to worry about is I don't know it, I don't know it, I don't know it. It's because you don't know it. That's why you will learn it. Did you okay? Let me ask you, Barry. Did you do any tutorial on how to use Facebook? Did you take any tutorial?
No,
Did you take any tutorial on how to use WhatsApp? How to use
no.
Twitter? You figured it out. You did not know it, but you were introduced to it. So it's the fact that you don't know it. That's why you're here. So don't worry. First of all, don't worry that I don't know this one. And the person that brought you said you should do Python. I can't tell you otherwise because I don't know you. I don't know your likes or whatever. I don't know your vision. I don't know where you're going to in life. So I can't, I've not had a one-on-one conversation. So I can't guide you. So whoever said you should do the Python, it's fine. Do it. Do your
Okay.
dipods. But don't be worried by, I don't know it, I don't know anything. And that you will know it now. That's why you're here. Okay? You know it. That's why you're here.
What I actually wanted, like the main stuff that I really wanted to learn in tech was cyber security and ethics. That is the main thing, but I didn't see it among the options. So that's why I just went for
Okay.
that back end
Oh,
instead.
okay. Okay, no problem. Now I just go with the back end now and the dipods.
Okay, sir.
Mhm. Okay. Olani Olatubosu. Your name is familiar. I know you. You're an old horse.
Can you hear me, sir? Good
I
afternoon,
can
sir.
hear. Yes, good afternoon.
Me, I can say I have a very big problem in the sense that I've been with school camp since school camp 1 and I've not been able to complete any of the front end development, beginners, beginners, beginners channel since school camp 1. And the best I've done was last course where I was able to get to the project stage. No, I think the last task before project stage. So now my my own issue now is I don't know how to go about it. If there is any advice you can give, because right now I don't know. Because of this course, I had to run cybersecurity course for like 2 months. At the project is also. So I don't know how good camp will be now. I also need the advice of this.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to say. Like I said, when I saw you, I know you. You're an old horse here. No, so the thing is, you need to learn from the things. What are the things that made you not graduate, not finish? You need to learn from them. You can't do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome, right? So what were those challenges you were having that affected you, that made you not, that made you not finish, you need to identify it. If you don't identify it, you'll be in a cycle, right? So identify it, right, and then work on it. It's I can't be very I can only be generic because I don't know the peculiar those peculiar situations or challenges that you were having, right, that made you not finish. But you need to identify them and solve them, else they'll repeat themselves again, right? You still join this 5.0, and then you still not finish because those things were left untreated, unattended to. Something is the issue. There's something that is drawing you back. I don't know what it is. I don't want to speculate, but identify it, find out what it is, and then deal with it. If you've found out what it is, and then you now need um much more detailed discussion, then you can send me a message on Discord. Is that okay? I hope I answered your question.
Sir, very, very
Okay.
okay, sir. Very okay.
Okay. Okay. Chibike. So we have four more persons, and then okay, three more rather. Chibike, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Please, this diaper class is by what, for what time to, from when to when? Time.
Okay, dipods, you mean? Okay, dipods for this week. It starts beginning today. It starts from 2 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Then from next week, it's only on Wednesdays by 2 p.m. also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and it's dipods.
Okay.
Yeah, Kelvin, Kelvin, go ahead. Yeah, Kelvin, go ahead. We have about 10 minutes to round this up.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good
And
afternoon.
good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I really appreciate the lecture that you have given to us today. So, concerning the topic today for Grit, I just want to ask the question in correlation to the advancement of how AI as a tool has been helping, individuals to. Would I use the word increase productivity? Probably I'll use the word to save up time. So, for a newbie that is starting out in the world of tech, probably technical based course like front end, and AI has been able to provide solutions to how individuals could solve technical issues. So I want to ask, as someone that would want to be involved in that system of making sacrifices to understand core concept of how to actually solve technical issues, and with AI there on the side, I know this. I might want to play the devil advocate here because I feel in a way leaning towards AI in providing this solution would make that replacement for an individual to have that time to build him or herself in understanding that concept. So I want to ask that question as an individual like yourself that is well versed and having that large experience in the technical world. How would you prefer that advice to somebody that is in that middle class of battling, learning, and also making that inclusion of AI, so that in the long run, it would not that individual would not suffer a loss of having this over reliance on AI, because in the long run, AI might be out of the picture, and the technical ability of that individual would be affected because that individual has not made that sacrifices in understanding the core concept, but has relied heavily on a tool to provide a solution. So that's my question. Thanks.
Okay. Wow. That's an interesting one. I didn't even see that question coming. Well, that's one of the things you actually Mr. Lawrence is going to talk about in diapods. But let me say this, right? As a newbie, well, not as a newbie, as anybody in tech, AI is actually meant to assist you, but it cannot do everything for you. It all boils down to you being able to be disciplined and apply self-control, because if you're not careful, you would want to rely on AI to do everything but for you, but yet you have no foundational knowledge. Because now the thing is this, The question is, how do you even know that what AI is giving you is correct? How do you even know that the solution it is providing is a solution that can scale if you have no technical ability, if you have no foundational knowledge? I remember someone who was starting out in tech, and then he of course, ChatGPT was there now. And I told him, okay, fine. I can't stop you from using ChatGPT. If I tell you don't not use it, I'm only wasting my time. I'm not with you in your private space. But instead of telling ChatGPT to write this code for you, why not tell ChatGPT to explain the concept of this, what it does, how is it done? Why not use ChatGPT or AI to learn the basics and fundamentals rather than giving it a task to do? Or why not doing the task yourself, right? And trying to debug it yourself, and then bringing in the help of AI to check what you have already done, not to just give it to you. So it's a very, the truth is, it's a very broad discussion, and it's one of the things that are going to be handled in dipod. So try as much as possible not to miss dipod, but don't be reliant on AI, especially as a newbie. Don't. You are doing yourself more harm than good. You're doing yourself far more harm than good. Focus on learning, or you can use it. See, you can use AI to learn. You can ask ChatGPT, explain the concept of programming. When he gives you one, he can take a statement in that is not clear, give it back to it and tell it, explain it again. So that's a different way to use AI. You're now using AI for learning and not for problem solving. You can solve problems with AI, that's sure. But there's also the part where you can also learn with what AI. So learning with it should be your primary use at this point. Be your thing. We're in an era of discipline in AI, not listen, not to use it, right? I write for me, but I'm building myself to the point where I write myself and then it checks it. Okay, so I think my network acted up a bit, but I don't know if um I responded to that. Please, you did not lose me. Okay, so SOJ, go ahead. I think just two more persons and then we'll round up. But don't miss dipods. Engineer Lawrence would treat that very, very well. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, please, how can we know, how can I know the difference between grit or having grit and being stubborn for a particular course? Because because like when I started like a few years ago, when I started 3 Bootcamp 3.0, I started with UI UX. So after I finished, when I got certified, I moved to cybersecurity, then I moved to front end. So I've been in front end like let's say almost a year now. So how will I know that okay, this is the field I want? And sometimes you said motivation, even if you feel you are losing motivation and others, how will you know that okay, this is not for me, or you are just trying to upgrade for that particular thing that is not for you, or you are just being stubborn and you're not moving to the one you really want or the one that will work for you?
Okay. Is that for the way you put it first one? Okay, how do you okay, so see, well, grit and stubbornness. Well, they both involve persistence, right? As stubbornness is synonymous to strong head. That's the right word we use. Strong head. Die hard. I no agree, right? So they both involve persistence, but the thing is, they come from very different mindsets that leads to very different outcomes, right? Now, grit is driven or should be driven by purpose and passion. Stubbornness a lot of times is driven by ego or fear of change. There's a slight difference. Okay. Grit can grit adapts when needed. It actually adapts when needed. It learns, it adjusts, it improves. But someone who is stubborn will resist feedback, will resist change, will resist new ideas. So they're not the same, right? If you're stubborn, you need
Now,
to
yeah,
it's a different thing. Now, so talking about how you would know, well, you're the only one to answer that question, Say, how do you know what's your best food, SOJ? What's your best food?
beans and bread.
How do you know? How? Who told you? Who told you? How did you know that your best food is beans and bread?
And no one told me.
Is it?
I said no one, no one. I just like it, like eating it. No one
Eh?
told me.
So see, nobody to you just like it. So something somehow there is something. There's a feeling. There is a sense of fulfillment you get when you actually eat, right? There's a sense. See, the feeling is different when I eat my bread, granules, and fearless. The feeling is different than when I eat any other thing. So nobody needs to tell me. So the question is, how fulfilled are you when you are actually, in that particular field? How do you feel? How fulfilled are you? You understand? So it's just one thing to think about. If you're not fulfilled, if there's no passion, if it doesn't excite you, then you may, please, in quotes, may just be in the wrong path. May just be in the wrong path. But also at the same time, feelings are very subjective, right? So if you're doubting your front end, well, the question is what else? What else actually tickles your fancy? What else are you passionate about? What can you do even when you don't feel like doing it? Even when situations around you, right? It's very down. What is the one thing you can still do? You can still think about and it doesn't feel like a burden. That may just be a pointer. Okay, I think the last person is Emmanuel. I don't know why there's lion in your name. Is that a surname? That's scary. Emmanuel Lion. Is that your name?
Good afternoon, Mr. Ikechukwu.
Is your nickname, sir?
Yes, it's more like a brand for me, like a brand
Okay,
name. Everybody
brand.
calls me this.
Lion.
Even my
Okay,
mother
that's
calls me
nice.
Lion.
That's like, go ahead.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, sir.
Thank you for this session. It has been very enlightening. Thank you so much.
You're
Um,
welcome.
I want a clarification on something.
Okay.
When you mentioned, you said being a successful software person. Yes, now coming with a mindset like you just want to make money. Is it right? I won't lie.
Okay, so you see the thing is, whenever people bring this up, I'm very careful not to, pass my own, because there's a way I see money. It's different. People see money differently, right? Now, it's not wrong. So let me even answer the question first and foremost. It's not wrong. Because the truth is this, whether you like it or not, we are in a world of transactions. We're in a world where money is a legal tender. You need it, right? And of course, you don't want to learn a skill that you will not actually make money with it. How will you survive? How will you do all those things, right? So it's not wrong, but it has its pros and cons. Personally, for me, it's more of cons. That's just the truth, right? Because you see, in chasing money, right? See, you can't, I don't know, I stand corrected, right? You can't actually have this focus where your focus is just money and then you are also chasing purpose. Do you know why? Because a lot of times in chasing the things that you are meant to do, it's usually a very long journey that you may not achieve. You may not get that financial value at the start. I'll use myself as an instance, right? And that's why it's a very touchy subject. And I'm careful not to make people feel like, no, you should not go after money. Please, oh, if it's money, please chase it, oh, right? But I chase purpose instead, right? If I was chasing money, trust me, none of you would actually know a KodeCamp and CodeCamp. And that's the truth. Because the thing is, I think I mentioned it a few weeks after I was to handle KodeCamp, I had a very lucrative offer that was like 9 times what I was currently earning. And I'm not kidding. You understand? But I turned it down. And over the course of me being in KodeCamp, I have turned down things that would wanted to take me out of it. Not because I don't like money, I don't need money. Trust me, I need it. But I am not driven by it. I am driven by my goal, by what I want to achieve. Money will come when I'm there. So this is my own personal ideology, right? If you're going for a skill, if you go for money, right, you may be easily discouraged. You may be moved. See, I know somebody who has from one place because of he hears that the money is in this track. He goes there. He tries 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 7 months. He's not seeing the money. He hears it's in this other place. He switches, right? You just be everywhere, right? But someone who is chasing purpose, who is chasing a particular, oh, this is my passion. In the long run, you get, of course, you can look at stories of people who pursued one thing, and right now they are known for that one thing. When you hear them, you can attribute it to one thing that they chased after. Even the person who invented electricity, after failing like how many times? Is it 99 or 999? I can't remember. Right? Imagine if it was money what I was looking for. Why don't you go and just do something else? But the question is, after inventing the electricity, what happened? It's no longer about money now. The name has that product is why me and you are even having this conversation. Because if there's no light, how will you see me? So money is good, right? No doubt. Okay, money is good, but I do not think, right, it is a major fuel in chasing purpose. I don't think it should be a major fuel. It's an important fuel, a very important one, but it should not be the major fuel that drives you.
Mm. Thank you so much for that answer. Please, if you don't mind, I have another question.
Yeah, sure, sure. I think that's the last one, and then we can round up. Yeah, you're the last
Yes.
person.
I so much love this session because it actually enlightens me and opened my eyes to some things. And I want to ask, will there be a session that we treat ethnics when it comes to software?
Oh,
The
treat
reason
what?
I ask, like moral ethics,
Moral
because
ethics.
talking, yes, let me, like,
Okay,
example,
okay,
talking
okay.
about we youngsters now. I've met people that actually, okay, this thing I want to do, this software is bad, it's for stealing something, blah, blah, blah. But I still want to do it because of the money, blah, blah, blah. Then we have to talk things out, encourage one another. So that's why I'm asking, like, will there be a session like that? Because believe me, there are a lot of temptations, challenges aside acquiring this knowledge and using it wrongly.
Yeah, so ethics and all that, that's something you also learn in diapods. So follow up with diapods also. That will be taught in diapods.
Okay.
But at the same time, it is
Sorry,
something you will learn on the job. You will learn it in see, as you're going, you will learn it by it will just enter you by force all through code camp. Certain things will be picked up because of how we have structured code camp, because of our way of life, because of the code camp culture. There are certain things we don't accept. There are certain things that are ethically wrong. And when you do it, we call you out and we correct you. Right. But as far as session is concerned, it's one of the things that you also pick up in diapods. So still do well to follow up with diapods. Okay.
all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That would be
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we have another session to the dipod session by 2. Okay, Umar, I'll just take yours and then we'll end, please. Okay, Umar, go ahead.
Hello. Good
Yes,
afternoon
go
to
ahead.
everyone.
Yes.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
So the question is that I'm just joining the code camp for the first time. So I wanted to ask that when are you going how when are you going to start the program? And also you said about something like e-ports. Like
Okay. Dipods, you mean? I don't know. Please, is it my network? Please, can someone confirm?
And also
Can
also the internship.
Okay, sorry.
Hello.
Can you take that again quickly?
I'm just joining the code camp for the first time, so I wanted to ask. You talked about this sports. I cannot get it very well. Is it among the program? So you said it's going to be starting on Wednesday. You said Tuesday.
Okay, that pods actually starts tomorrow. Today rather, today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday by 2. And then from next week, it's only on Wednesdays by 2 p.m. also. That's for diapods. It's a general course for everyone, right? It helps you stand out as, so something you all should be a part of. But you can actually just, this is going to be uploaded on YouTube, so you can watch this session and, get informed, right? Okay.
All right. Do
Yes.
you have the ability to, if the internship has started, so do you have the ability to choose anytime you are convenient with?
Sorry, I don't get that. Choose anytime for.
Like, according to the form we filled, they said that we should choose the time you are convenient with, like the time we can able to work, or
Sorry,
according to the form we filled.
the form you filled asked for time you're able to work.
It's requested for time, like do you work every night, or what time to time, 24 hours, something like that.
Okay, well, let me just say this. There's a timetable already. Okay, so
Okay.
you can go to the community announcement channel, right, and check the timetable, check your class times and all that, and then walk around that schedule.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So I think that concludes that. So the up next tomorrow is goal setting and time management. Trust me, this one you don't want to miss this one, right? I'm coming very prepared for you. For those of you who are working, right, who have other jobs. I think someone asked during the opening ceremony, what about people if are having working somewhere else and all that? How do you manage, your time? How do you handle it with KodeCamp and all that? Tomorrow is for you, right? Students also, tomorrow is for you. Anybody, in fact, this is for everybody, right? So tomorrow we're going to do we're going to have the goal setting and time management webinar, right? And then of course on Wednesday. So please, Wednesday, you don't want to miss, sorry, Thursday rather. That will be the Discord and LMS onboarding. So let everybody know. Nobody, if you miss that one on your own, right? I'm going to walk you through on the Discord and how to work with the Discord, and then the learning management system, which is where your tasks will be uploaded. That's where you get to see your tasks, where you get to be graded and all that. So we will do a walkthrough and onboarding on that also on Thursday. And then, of course, on Friday is our office hours. Office hours is basically a time where you come with the challenges you're having, and then we'll help resolve them. It's going to be on Friday, but moving forward, we'll have a much more frequent time set apart for the office hours, and that will be communicated to everyone, right? Thank you very much. But of course, I can't just round off without giving a shout out to my boss, the CEO of Code House, who graciously joined us, and he has been here listening to me talk, putting me on that small pressure. Engineer, I don't know if you have a chance to say a few words before we round up.
Well, did I put you under pressure? Well, you did very well, though. Thank you very much for the presentation. In fact, I feel like maybe I should make a presentation sometime. So good
Yeah.
evening, good afternoon, everyone. I've been reading the chat. The chats are really interesting to read, and it's very insightful. So congrats to everybody who has joined CodeCamp. If you people are, looking at the kind of messages I'm reading on the chat, you guys have not even started. When you enter CodeCamp, in fact, go and join Dipods. That's another person that will talk, and you people will understand. This man called Engineer Lawrence. If you like miss that class, I'm hearing people talking diapers and whatever. You see, people don't even know what's going on. Don't miss that class. Your mind will blow, right? So, and that's what happens when you come to code camp, when you come to code house, right? Your mind gets blown. Your entire orientation in life changes. That's when you realize that what you thought was your reality is not the reality, you know. I wanted to, there are some new things I would like to talk about, like this concept of reality. There are three levels of reality. There's the reality out there, there's a reality you can perceive, and there's a reality you actually perceive. And the interesting thing is that most of us are locked within our own perception of reality. It's not even the real reality, talk less of the universal reality that we cannot perceive. And we are thinking that life is, you know, you know, I don't know, there's no hope in life, life is hard, all those kind of things, right? But come to places where you will get unlocked, where your mind will be opened. There's something, Ike, which I heard you speak and I really liked it. Something like you are the average of the last five people or the five people you mix up with, most. There's something else I want to say. In a room, if you are in a room of people and you are the smartest person in that room, you need to leave that room. So take that home. You should not be in a room where you are the smartest person. Because what that means is that you're not learning anything. Everybody else is learning from you and you're not learning anything. So change your circle of friends, change where you interact, go somewhere new, learn something new, okay? And I'm happy that the journey has started. I hope we are picking things up and I hope we are learning. And I'm telling everyone, you ain't seen nothing yet. That's something they always say. We are just starting. So 2 o'clock in the next 30 minutes, join Dipods class. You get more mind-blowing stuff. Okay, thank you very much. We'll continue, of course, for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Welcome to
Yeah.
KodeCamp, everyone. This is how KodeCamp is, and I'm sure you enjoy the ride.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Of course, I also want to recognize my amiable assistant program manager, the person of Mrs. Imole Bisiolu. I don't know if she's chanced. She's a very busy person. Mole, are you chance to say hi? Are you? I think she's a very busy person, right? But yeah, I appreciate you for even finding the time to join. I'm sure you'll hear more of her very, very, very soon. So thank you very much, everyone. So all road leads to Dipods by 2 p.m. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead. Bye.